I'm not usually the type of person who shares personal stories online, but I need to get this off my chest because what happened to me feels like something out of a psychological thriller. My name is Tara, I'm 40 minus 2 years old, and I just escaped from what I can only describe as a family cult disguised as a marriage. For 13 years, I slowly lost pieces of myself to my husband Logan and his controlling family. But the moment I finally found the courage to leave, they launched a campaign to systematically destroy my life. They thought they could erase me, make me disappear, force me to come crawling back. What they didn't realize was that I'd been watching, learning, and preparing for this moment longer than they knew. I met Logan at a backyard barbecue when I was 20 minus 9. He had this magnetic confidence that made me feel seen in a way no one else ever had. We moved fast to fast, looking back, but at the time it felt like destiny. Within 2 months, I was practically living at his place, dreaming of our future together. Then I met his mother, Cheryl. She was all smiles and politeness on the surface, but there was something calculating in her eyes, like she was taking inventory of my flaws. She wore pearls to a casual cookout and made comments like, "Logan's always been drawn to girls who need a little guidance." The first time I cooked dinner and invited her over, she brought her own meal, claiming she was allergic to store-bought sauces. Later, she suggested Logan come to her house for real food. I should have run then. I know that now. But I was young, didn't have much family of my own, and desperately wanted to belong somewhere. I thought if I just proved myself worthy, she'd eventually accept me. Spoiler alert, she never did. After Logan and I married, the situation escalated. It wasn't just Cheryl anymore, it was his sister Darcy, his older brother Dean, even distant cousins who barely knew me but somehow had strong opinions about how I should behave. They treated Logan like he was royalty and I was some peasant who'd somehow tricked her way into the castle. I wasn't allowed to host Thanksgiving. I wasn't trusted with Christmas dinner. Cheryl would swoop in with that plastic smile and take over everything, making subtle digs like, "Some women just don't have the natural instinct for family," or "Logan needs stability at home." And Logan, he never defended me. He'd just sit there, sometimes even laughing like their cruelty was harmless family banter. The worst part was how they slowly rewired my husband's brain. He started parroting his mother's words during our arguments, saying things like, "You don't understand how our family works, or you wouldn't last a week on your own." I began to believe maybe they were right. Maybe I really was the problem. For years, I tried to be the perfect daughter minus and minus law. I swallowed my pride, avoided conflict, and hoped that eventually I'd earn their respect. But the harder I tried, the more they seemed to enjoy watching me struggle. It was like they fed off my desperation to fit in. The turning point came when I decided to get a job. I'd been out of the workforce for years because Cheryl believed working wives were a red flag for marital problems. But I was tired of being financially dependent on Logan, tired of having no identity outside of being his wife. So I secretly applied for positions and landed a marketing coordinator role at a small advertising firm downtown. For the first time in years, I felt like myself again. I had colleagues who respected my ideas, projects that challenged me, and a paycheck with my name on it. I thought maybe having my own career would finally give me the confidence to stand up to Logan's family. Instead, it made them double down on their control tactics. Cheryl started showing up at my office randomly, claiming she was lost and needed directions. Logan became paranoid, accusing me of flirting with male co-workers I barely spoke to. Darcy sent me links to blog posts about how career women destroy their marriages. They wanted me to quit, to shrink back into the box they built for me. But I refused to give up the one thing that made me feel human again. Last month, I finally reached my breaking point. I came home from work to find Logan sprawled on the couch, scrolling through his phone like he owned the world. I stood in the doorway and said the words I'd been rehearsing for months: "I'm leaving you. I talked to a lawyer. I found an apartment. I'm done." He didn't even look up at first. Then he slowly raised his eyes, and I saw something in them I'd never seen before: pure, cold contempt. He smiled this chilling smile and said, "You'll be back when no one else wants you." No pleading. No fighting. Just absolute certainty that I'd come crawling back because, in his mind, I was nothing without him. The next morning, my phone was dead. Not dead, completely shut off. I went to Verizon and discovered our shared plan had been canceled entirely. When I tried logging into my email, every password had been changed. My backup email was gone. My recover phone number didn't exist anymore. Then my boss called. Someone had anonymously reported that I'd lied on my resume, claiming I'd never worked at a company I'd listed. HR had to investigate. She sounded uncomfortable, like she didn't believe the accusation, but she couldn't ignore it either. I asked where the tip came from. She hesitated, then read me the phone number from their call log. My blood ran cold. It was Cheryl's landline. That's when I realized this wasn't just a bitter divorce, it was war. And they'd fired the first shot. I spent the next 2 days in a motel outside Springfield, shaking with rage and fear. They were trying to systematically erase me, cutting off every avenue of independence I'd built. But as the shock wore off, something else took its place: determination. I bought a prepaid phone and called my old supervisor from Kansas City to verify my employment history. Thankfully, she remembered me and sent documentation to clear up the false report. Crisis averted, but I knew this was just the beginning. Sure enough, the next day my new landlord called to say someone claiming to be me had canceled my lease. When I pressed for details, he reluctantly gave me the number. It was Darcy's. I started documenting everything. Every blocked account, every forged signature, every malicious phone call. I filed a police report, but the officer looked bored and told me it sounded like a family misunderstanding. When I explained that misunderstandings don't usually involve identity theft and career sabotage, he just shrugged. That's when I knew I was completely on my own. But I also realized I had something they didn't expect: intelligence. I'd spent 13 years watching how they operated, learning their patterns, understanding their weaknesses. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd show them what dirty really looked like. I called a lawyer, not just any lawyer, but Erica, a woman who specialized in cases involving domestic manipulation and financial abuse. She listened to my story without judgment and said something that changed everything: they're trying to erase you. Tara, you know that, right? But if they're stupid enough to do this in the open, we'll catch them. That's when I got the idea that would change everything. If they wanted to continue their harassment, I'd let them, but I'd record every second of it. I went back to the house one last time, wearing a hidden microphone and camera that Erica had helped me set up. Logan answered the door with that same smug smile. Changed your mind already? No, I said calmly, though my hands were trembling. I just forgot a few things. He let me in, acting like he'd already won. Cheryl was there too, sitting in the living room, like she owned the place. Tara, she said with fake sweetness, we were just talking about you. I ignored her and went to the bedroom to pretend I was packing. That's when Logan followed me and decided to gloat. He leaned against the doorframe with this arrogant pose and said, "You know, I'm doing you a favor." A favor? I kept my voice steady. He laughed. You can't survive without me. Your job's gone, your apartment's gone. Who's going to take you in now? Then he delivered the line that would ultimately destroy him: you never belonged here anyway. My family was right about you. You're nothing without us. I got every word on tape. Back at the motel, Erica listened to the recording and nodded approvingly. Perfect. Now we're really getting started. Over the next few weeks, their attacks escalated. A credit card was opened in my name with a $6,000 balance mailed to Cheryl's address. My card tire was slashed in the motel parking lot. Someone scratched my door. The motel security cameras mysteriously weren't working that day. But I documented everything. Every fraudulent account, every act of vandalism, every threat. I filed police reports, fraud complaints, and restraining order requests. I moved to a different part of town under an assumed name, paying cash for everything. Then I got a call that changed everything again. A young woman named Kelsey, who used to date Logan's brother Dean, had seen my name on court filings. She wanted to meet. At a coffee shop, wearing long sleeves despite the 80-degree heat, she told me about how Dean had tracked her phone, read her emails, and accused her of cheating if she went anywhere alone. Cheryl had once told her point minus blank, if you break his heart, we'll ruin you. Kelsey had fled the state 6 years ago, changed her number, and was only now starting to feel safe. You're not crazy, she told me. They do this to all of us. She agreed to testify. While building my case, I made another disturbing discovery. Going through old paperwork, I found a manila envelope containing printed emails, screenshots of my private Facebook messages, and even a college-air, a message I had sent to an ex-boyfriend. Someone had highlighted it and written manipulative in red ink. They'd been spying on me for years, building a profile like I was a criminal case file. The financial sabotage continued. My bank account was mysteriously emptied through a forged transfer to one of Logan's old business accounts. When I confronted the bank, they revealed I was listed as an authorized user on 6 accounts I'd never heard of. But every attack just gave me more evidence, more ammunition for court. 2 months later, we had everything we needed. Bank records, phone logs, witness statements, security footage, and recordings of their own confessions. Erica said she'd never seen a family act this systematically destructive outside of a cult. The day of the hearing, Logan walked in like he was there for a parking ticket. Still cocky, still certain he'd win. Cheryl came too, dressed in her pearls like she was heading to church. They weren't smiling an hour later. The judge listened as Erica laid out their campaign of harassment piece by piece. Then we played the audio recording. Logan's voice filled the courtroom, "You're nothing without us." He didn't even try to deny it. Kelsey took the stand next. She was terrified but determined. She described how Dean had once locked her in their basement during an argument, how Cheryl had told her she'd provoked it. Her testimony was so raw, so honest, that the judge leaned forward to hear every word. When it was my turn, I kept it simple. I told the judge I wasn't just divorcing a man, I was escaping a system. A sick, twisted system built on control and fear. I ended with this: "They wanted to erase me, Your Honor. But I kept the receipts." The judge's ruling was swift and decisive. Protective orders against Logan, Cheryl, and Darcy. Logan was ordered to pay full restitution for the stolen money. Fraud charges were forwarded to the district attorney. Darcy faced criminal vandalism charges. Cheryl lost her part-time job at a family foundation when the media picked up the story. Dean got the worst of it. The DA reopened Kelsey's old case, and with our new evidence proving a pattern of abuse, they charged him with unlawful restraints. He was arrested 3 weeks later. I got everything I wanted in the divorce. Clean split, no alimony, and I kept everything in my name. But more than that, I got something they tried to steal: my freedom. Before I left Springfield for good, I sent Cheryl one final letter. Handwritten no return address. It simply said I was nothing without you. Now I'm everything you hate free. Inside the envelope, I included a copy of the forged credit card application with her address listed. No threats, no curses. Just proof that I'd always been one step ahead. I never heard from her again. Now I'm in a new city, with a new job and a new life. I kept that old purse with the recording device inside. I don't use it anymore, but I keep it in my closet as a reminder of what I survived and what I'll never let happen again. If you're reading this and going through something similar, listen to me. It's not love if they need you afraid. It's not family if you have to disappear to find peace. You're not weak for walking away, you're strong for staying alive. And sometimes, survival is the sweetest revenge of all.